Hello, everyone. My name is Seraphi, and I'm happy to meet you all. And joining me once again is my good friend Goldmine.
Hello, everybody.
And today, Gold and I are going to talk about the state of the meta because it's been crazy. And unfortunately, it has not been so crazy. So there have been some changes, but the problem, in my opinion, is that there haven't been enough changes. And we'll discuss that. But for right now, let's talk about the tier list as DLM is describing it. So in Tier 2, we have Live Twins, Rockets, Tenyi, and Yubel. Then in Tier 3, we have Gandora, Odd Eyes, S-Force, Salamangrate, and Trickstar. Now, that sounds like it would be a reasonably a reasonably diverse, interesting meta. But in practice, I haven't seen it. It is Eternal Bond everywhere. I streamed last night. I streamed this morning. I'm going to stream again later tonight, and I think probably 40% of the decks that I faced were Eternal Bond. It is ridiculous, um, and part of that is just that Yubel is so cheap and so easy to play and powerful that it allows for a lot of forgiveness. It also means that you don't need as many expensive staples. I think that a lot of people can get away with playing Yubel with just Book of Moon, maybe Forbidden Lance, cards that you could have gotten ages ago and not really worry about any of the new tech like Ice Dragon's Prison because your Limit 3 Fusion Monster will carry you anyway. Um, it's rough. Gold, what's your experience on the ladder right now?
Experience. Well, I've been playing the ladder too much right now, but I definitely do agree. We are seeing a lot more Eternal Bond decks. It is very surprising, especially since they just debuffed they just buffed Neo Fusion by
Mm-hmm.
playing it out the ban list, which honestly I don't know what. Like I understand it's to increase the sales, but you, Eternal Bond was already strong as is. Why give them more tools?
Eternal One was definitely powerful. I think that unlimiting Neo's fusion is what made it consistent. Um, and I mean, that gave you so many more starters. It gave you three more starters. And I mean, people were already playing Neo's fusion at one or two, but being able to play at three and then being able to choose whether you wanted to play three Klugers or maybe two Klugers and one Crackdown or maybe one Kluger and two Compulses, like you have that flexibility, and it's really made it popular. Let's take a look at some of the decks that people are playing. So we have a first. Gold, are you seeing this?
Yes, I am seeing this.
We have a first place list from our own Beam from the Guild of Gurus Discord, who took first place with the Duel Links Grand Prix number 51. I remember him posting about this. All right, and we've got 24 cards. Obviously, the one required Neos Wise Man, 3 Ubels, 3 Neoses, 2 copies of Effect Veiler, and 1 Gem Knight Lazuli. And for those that don't know, Gem Knight Lazuli, if this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can target one normal monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. Why do you do this? Well, you play Neos Fusion, and you combine Gem Knight Lazuli with Elemental Hero Neos to make Elemental Hero Brave Neos, and that triggers Gem Knight Lazuli's effect to add Elemental Hero Neos to your hand so that you have a normal summon to trigger the skill for the turn, which is very, very good. It essentially allows Neos Fusion not only to give you an additional body on the board, but also act as essentially 3 more copies of one of your normal summons for your skill. And the skill is kind of balanced around you only being able to normal summon 6 monsters as opposed to 9. So that's a huge buff. We also have obviously the 1 Super Poly, 3 Book of Moons, 3 Forbidden Chalices, 1 copy of Lost Wind, and 3 Warning Points. So Beam heavily focused on negating monster effects because he knows that he will win every battle, which is fair. I mean, if you can just Forbidden Chalice the High Speed Roid Kite Drake, or if you can just Lost win the number 74, sorry, number 70 Malevolent Sin, or Warning Points the, I don't know what else out to you, Bell, Neo Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, then you're golden. Extra deck, we
Definitely.
have 2 copies of Kluger, 1 of all of the elements of that we have, dark, earth, fire, wind, and light to make sure that you always have a super poly target, and then 1 Brave Neos for the aforementioned Lazuli combo. This is a good list. I'm sure that Beam is very proud of this list. He's an excellent player, and he won first place, so good for him. Yeah. Gold, do you have any comments?
In comments, you explain what makes the deck so good. And I feel like I don't really have much to add.
Fair enough. Moving on. All right. Let's get back to the tier list. Okay. Other changes that would have impacted the list, we have Tenyi. So let's take a look at how Tenyi is doing. Tenyi has obviously got a limit 2 now in Vessel of the Dragon Cycle. It looks like this list from Dayuan added 1 copy of Tenyi Spirit Nahata, which does change the list a little bit. Nahata was not a card that people were playing before. It does give you a little bit of extra reach, and we are also, I think, feeling like I'm seeing more copies of the field spell in more deck lists, so that does make the deck feel more diverse, more interesting. Let's see if there's a first place list. Here we go from December 1st. Let's see, from King, we've got 3 Ashunas, 1 Effect Veiler, 3 Vishudas, 3 Adharas, 1 of each of the level 4s, 1 Flawless, 2 Vessels, 3 Circles, 2 IDPs in a 21 card list, and then 3 Monks, 1 Berserker, 2 Shaman, 1 Boxia, and 1 Draco Berserker. Okay, so obviously this list feels very similar to the previous Tenyi list. In fact, this feels exactly like what I would have expected Tenyi to play before, with just 1 copy of Effect Veiler added. And that's an issue, which we will get to as soon as we're done talking about the tier list. But I'm going to get back to my overall points and the reason why I wanted to have this discussion at all in a minute. Gold, what are your thoughts on the Tenyi deck and the Legend of the Heroes skill as opposed to the old version of the 3 effects that they were using before?
Definitely think the skill change is a much better change for them, because now not only do they still get the life point gauge, but now they also got the end goal of Avermax that they wanted to. But other than that, I don't think the list changed way too much. Like, this was kind of to be expected. They weren't going to kill the deck. I definitely do think the hits were fair.
Mm-hmm. The change to Tenyi to make it so they only gain 2,000 life points instead of 3,000 was a big one. It does feel like Tenyi is a lot more beatable for a lot more decks now. I think that the release of Blue Eyes was very deliberate, because Blue Eyes and now Red Eyes are both decks that use a lot of normal monsters, and the presence of Flawless Perfection of the Tenyi in the meta does mean that this becomes kind of a double-edged sword for Tenyi players when they're facing so many decks that use normal monsters. So I think that's kind of holding Tenyi back at the moment, and we'll have to see how well Tenyi holds up as things shift. All right, next up we have Live Twins. Live Twins got their Envoy at the beginning hit to 3. Let's see. Last time a Live Twin took first place was before the ban list. So, let's see. Although I do think that, this is November 20th, I do think that they would have been following the ban list. Let's see. Yeah, this is a ban list approved. Okay. All right, so this is the most recent first place on November 28th from Anticristo. We have 3 Live Twin Kisskills, 3 Live Twin Lilas, 2 Signet Crosswipes, 2 Offering to the Doomed, 1 copy of Enemy Controller, 1 copy of Live Twin Home, 2 copies of Secret Password, 2 copies of Dynamiscus, 2 IDPs, 1 Crackdown, Ballista Squad, and Evil Twin Present for a total of 21 cards. Then we have Nightmare Unicorn, Evil Twin Keyskill at 3, Evil Twin Lila at 3, and Nightmare Phoenix. That is a full Fiend extra deck. So you are not restricted from your extra deck at all, except for, obviously, you can't summon Avramax the turn that you use Evil Twin Keyskill or Evil Twin Lila. Okay, so Evil Twins lost their big finisher in the form of Envoy. And I have seen some Evil Twin decks playing Chaos Dragon Levianeer, but that's also a limit 3. It is a good card, and it does help them win the game, but that's kind of a trade-off for these decks. Now, I do think that Evil Twins are a deck that can kind of survive losing their limit 3s. I do question whether the traps are really the thing that you should keep. I mean, they have Signet Crosswipe, Offerings to the Doomed, Ballista Squad. These are all fantastic cards that other decks wish they could run. Like, the fact that they can play Offering to the Doomed, which is a card that would cripple almost any other deck just because they can draw so many cards. They're drawing 2 extra cards turn. The Offerings to the Doomed is almost a benefit because it just makes sure you don't deck yourself out on accident. Signet Crosswipe obviously is just used. It's used potentially just to dodge removal. It also helps them dodge Effect Veiler. If you get Effect Veiler, you can just Signet Crosswipe the monster that was targeted by Effect Veiler, and you still get the effect off. So Signet Crosswipe's tribute effect, same for Ballista Squad, is actually usually a benefit for the Live Twins because it allows them to dodge disruption and continue their plays. So it stands to see. We haven't seen another top for a few days, so it stands to see whether people are going to change things up, whether they're going to go back to using Envoy, because Envoy was a very good finisher for Evil Twins, whether there's going to be more experimentation with other Fiends in the extra deck. Right now, I don't think that the full control variant is the best way to play Live Twins, but I could be wrong. Gold, do you have anything you want to add here?
No, I don't think I have anything else that I want to add. I think Live Twins are pretty fair on where they are in the meta.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that the big problem that people have with Live Twins is the life point game. I think that a control deck having 6,000 life points and access to all these tools makes them very difficult to deal with. And Live Twins are probably the best deck in the entire game at playing long. So the fact that they get that 2,000 life point boost really puts them over the top. All right, let's talk about Rockets. I'll leave this to one to you, Gold. Here's the most recent first place. It's on the 26th.
Actually, this is pretty standard. Like the Book of Moon, the Trap, everything's pretty standard. What I will talk about is I'm surprised has skill changes come yet?
No, there haven't been any skill changes announced.
Okay. Right as of right now, before we get skill changes, I'm surprised that Rockets has survived this long. Like I know it is not the worst deck out there, but I'm surprised for how long it's been around. It survived up until pretty much the whole year.
Yep, it's been a year and they've only gotten buffed. They got Silver Rocket put to 3, but people just stopped playing Silver Rocket.
Yes. Honestly, if we don't get a skill hit, they might honestly kill the deck in next year. But as of right now, I think the deck is fine. I think it's very fair where it's placed. Like people might say, "Oh well, Eyes is no longer in the meta." Well, technically it's still free tier free, but still, I still think Rockets are pretty good for what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's weird because we talk about harpies, right? And harpies were kind of like the poster child of a deck overstaying its welcome. And then we had Xyz's Galaxy, which was another deck that people really hated and was really good for a really long time. And it feels like Rockets has eclipsed that. Rockets, like you said, has been in the meta for almost an entire year at this point. It's true that they didn't really see a whole lot of play until May, but the deck is strong, the deck is reliable, and I don't know. It has access to a lot of tools, and Rockets is probably the deck I'm the most scared of getting an extra deck slot. Like, I'm the most worried about Rockets getting a ninth extra deck slot out of all the other decks in the meta because I'm scared of what they could do with it. Looking at this list right here, they could put probably Nightmare Unicorn in this list and start using more links, and that would probably be extremely beneficial to them. So we'll have to see. Ideally, Rockets. I don't think there's going to be a skill change. To be honest, I feel like they would have announced it already because we're almost a month out from the KC Cup at this point.
Oh, true.
So I don't think there's going to be a skill hit, and I think that we're just dealing with Rockets again until when's the next KC Cup? I guess it's going to be in February.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's going to touch on what I'm about to talk about, but we'll keep going for right now. All right, let's see. That's all the tier 2 decks. The change to Nightmare just happened, right? Hold on, let me take a look at the list. I'm pretty sure that, yeah, okay, so Orcus Nightmare just changed. Okay, all right, so let's take a look at how Gandora is doing right now. Let's see. Wow, Gandora got thrashed. All right, so Gandora has only managed to get a top 4 since the 21st. That is crazy. Okay, well, let's take a look. Top 4 and then didn't place. Yeah, at this point, the list just seems really bad. Having one Nightmare when you're playing 3 returns is just, it's rough. I mean, yes, you can search the Harp Horror with Girgion X and discard the Harp Horror with Orchestrated Return, but if you don't make Girgion X, then that's just going to hurt. I did say that I thought this might be a buff because it meant that they could play Kiteroid again, but I guess I didn't account for how many gadgets they have to play. They don't really have room to play Kiteroid anymore. So yeah, this deck got destroyed. Rip, but I think that's worth. I think Orcus was definitely the deck that needed to die a painful death this round, and so it's okay that they're dead now. Let's see. Salamangreat, S-Force, and Trickstar. I don't really feel like any of these decks are seeing enough play to justify being talked about. This deck got 2nd place. You got a 1st place on November 1st. All right. We'll talk about Salamangreats because they're doing fairly well. All right. Okay, Gold. I'll let you go ahead and talk first, so that I don't take everything you want to say, and then I'll just add afterwards.
Honestly, I don't know what to say about stuff. They just been around so long. Like I remember the first time they were out, and they were just so powerful. Like I could beat them, but like they were really powerful for what they were doing. But now without the counter trap, now they're going for the kind of the Trickstar approach where they're running stuff that like Dark Hole.
Yep. So this deck is running 3 copies of Dark Hole. It's not running Needle Sealing, which is surprising. I bet that the other list, the second place list, has Needle Sealing in on check. No, they're not playing Needle Sealing at all. That's surprising. I mean, they do have Signet Crosswipe. I guess Signet Crosswipe is just a better option for them. But yeah, so Salamangreat is a deck that can extend and extend and extend, and even though they only have 1 copy of Gazelle, it's a 20-card list, so they draw one of the pieces they need most often, and then they just use their ridiculous amounts of search for everything else they need. I honestly don't think there's a way for Konami to deal with Salamangreat. I mean, Salamangreat was out of the meta for a while mostly because I think Odd Eyes could flood them out too much, and they couldn't handle the wide board that Odd Eyes made. But now that Odd Eyes has been killed, it's kind of time for Salamangreats to come back, I think. And I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I think Salamangreats are probably being played primarily because they have a good matchup against Live Twins. Because Salamangreats are a deck very similar to Live Twins, where they benefit from you removing their monsters. So if Live Twins just constantly pop everything that they summon, that only adds to Salamangreat's fire. And I do think that's why this list is running the Gizmet Kaku, just to completely shut Live Twins out of the equation, and the Dark Holes as well. That also is just turn Live Twins completely off. The meta definitely needs a Live Twins counter, so I don't have a problem with this, but it's something that I want to keep an eye on, because I do think that Salamangreat is a deck that will annoy a lot of people, because people just it leaves a poor taste in people's mouths when someone links like 8 times in a turn. That was the thing. We saw that when Vrains first came out. Literally, the entire subreddit was just people complaining that turns took forever because someone was like link climbing over and over, because these people weren't used to the concept of a link 1 of a monster that literally just turned into another monster with no other materials. That was a new concept for a lot of people, and it's still relatively new. There's not a lot of link 1s in the meta, so
True.
I do think that this will annoy people, but I don't necessarily think that Salamangreat is too powerful anymore.
They're definitely fine where they are. They'll probably get buffed.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the end of Salamangreat, but as of right now, they are not too powerful. I'm pretty sure they're fine where they are.
Yeah, but once we get Pyro Phoenix, it's going to change. We'll have to see how that goes. All right. Okay. So that is the tier list for the most part. I'm not going to talk about Odd Eyes or Trickstars. I've already talked about Odd Eyes and Trickstars every other month. And S-Force is cool, but S-Force is its own thing. The reason why S-Force sees a lot of play is because it's very good at dealing with threats that can't be destroyed. And so when there are a lot of monsters in the meta that can't be destroyed by card effects, S-Force will be good because they have the ability to bounce cards instead. Okay, so we are in the middle of essentially a 2-month meta, because we had our first situation where we moved from the Deep Emotions box into a pure rush month. And unlike we did get Wild Spirits. We did get the Wild Spirits box to kind of tide us over, but other than Wild Spirits, it's mostly just been Deep Emotions and World of Barian, kind of just counterbalancing each other, and then nothing else. So World of Barian had 2 months because because all we got in we did get the pickup box for Blackluster Soldier when World of Chaos came out, but that was it. And then we September was just pure rush. Then we had Deep Emotions, and then November was just pure rush. So we have this situation where the meta has slowed to a crawl, because other than the KC Cup, we haven't had any new cards that have really changed anything. And the introduction of Altergeist fell very flat. Yes, Altergeist has seen some play, but people aren't really bothering to try Altergeist. Altergeist just didn't get enough cards, really, in my opinion. Yes, Altergeist decks are seeing some success, even at high ranks, but they are very similar to Live Twins, and Live Twins just has so much more consistency that Altergeist feels like if you play Altergeist, it feels like, especially since Altergeist was in the same box as Live Twins, it feels like you're intentionally handicapping yourself at that point. Especially since Live Twins don't have their own limit 3, whereas Altergeist has to contend with their own limit 3, which I do think was preemptive. They really shouldn't have. I don't think they should have limited Nullseek. I think that they're going to unlimit that.
Definitely. It's definitely going to come off. I feel like they limited the card too soon.
I don't know. I think that this is going to. I think that this experience is going to really sour people on Rush Duels because it makes ideally. Well, I think what Konami wants people to do is during a Rush month, they want people to start, playing Rush, go onto the Rush ladder, take a break from the Speed ladder. But that's not what people are doing. People are playing the Speed ladder, and they're just not getting any new experiences. And especially when the KC Cup changes were so light, you know, only a few little nudges here and there. Basically, the KC Cup was designed to kill Orchist and to kill Blackluster Soldier, and that's all it did. And it buffed Bell, which fair enough. If you're going to have fewer boxes, you need to have a stronger ban list to adjust the meta and force new decks into the meta. And the character unlocks have to be more impactful than they were before. Yes, the Wild Spirits box was a great example of what they could do, but they did give Selena some good cards, overall, and the skill for Selena is also really good. They have
Oh,
to
definitely.
continue that, and they have to double down on that. Our next speed duel character has to have good cards, and not just good cards, but like deck defining cards, like how we got Borload Furious for Varus, we got Terror Top for Yugo. We need, like, if we're getting Mizar as our next unlock, we did get number 105 directly from Alita, and number 105 is a bad card, but if we can get number 107 as a free drop for Mizar, okay, now we're talking. Now things will actually change. Now we'll have a bigger impact in the meta if we get a card like number 107, which is a kind of a generic rank 8 that can really mix things up. But even that's really far away. We're not getting we're getting 2 boxes this month. I think, but other than the 2 boxes, we're not getting a new character. We're not getting any balance changes. So, and then January's going to be all Rush. So,
Ideally, they would give us 2 boxes. I'm pretty sure last time we did. Let me
mhm,
check.
yeah. But one of them is at the beginning of December, right? For them to have 2. One of them comes at the
Yeah,
beginning of the December, and one of them comes at the end of December.
I I believe it's at the 13th.
The 13th. Okay. So the 13th would be a speed mini. Hmm.
Yeah.
What are they going to do with a speed mini? I mean, World of Barian was a really powerful speed mini, and so was Wings of Clearness, but I mean, it's not a character month. I guess they could give us Sky Strikers. Maybe that's what they're intending. Maybe that's why they didn't give us any characters this month, so they could just release Sky Strikers because that's all we're missing from Toss.
Okay. It was December 8th. December 8th.
Wow, that's right around the corner. We haven't seen any leaks or anything.
Arms of Giants came out. It came out in December before the main box.
Yeah, it came out on December 8th.
December 11th. The article was posted on December 8th. I misread it. It's December 11th.
Oh, okay, so it came out on December 11th. That makes more sense. So we might see a leak on December 8th. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Sky Strikers is what we're missing from Toss. Sky Strikers could be pretty good in a 4,000 life point format. Um, what else could they give us? Uh, what's another like not anime deck that we're missing that could be decent?
Mm, another that were what?
A non-anime deck that we're missing that could be decent. So Sky Strikers is one. Um, generators, maybe. Um, let's see. Magic Key has been
What about
mediocre.
Shadal?
What?
What about Shadal?
Shadal? Ah, Shadal is kind of around that time, right? Let's take a look. So with
Yeah.
Shadal, go ahead.
No, I said it should be around that time.
Yeah. So Shadal is a fusion deck that focuses around generic fusions based on attribute. It's often combined with Invoked because Invoked has the same kind of theme. Let's see. And we don't have a single Shadal card. Unlike other archetypes where they release kind of like the non-relevant cards in kind of like a box like they did with crawlers, we have not gotten a single Shadal card, which is weird. We even got Orchist early. I wonder why they haven't given us any Shadal cards. That's weird, actually. Is there some copyright about Shadals that I'm not aware of?
Pretty sure there isn't.
Hmm. Weird. They haven't given us. They could definitely give us Shadal. El Shadal Construct is the boss monster. Requires a Shadal monster and a light monster. Must first be fusion summoned. If this card is special summoned, you can send one Shadal card from your deck to the graveyard, and they all have an effect when they go to the graveyard. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles a special summon monster, destroy that monster. That is mandatory, and it is not once per turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one Shadal spell or trap in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So this card would be fairly decent. It doesn't stop Lunalight Leo Dancer, but it would allow you to destroy Ubel because Ubel is considered a special summon, even if it's come off the skill. Neos Kluger could just remove the Neos fusion to get around this, and you just need to destroy the El Shadal construct to get around its effect. The effect won't work on Neos Wise Man, and if you pop Kluger, it'll just go into Wise Man, and it also doesn't stop you from. Well, it says at the start of the damage step, and then this one says at the start of the damage step, and Neos Kluger's effect says before damage calculations. I don't know which one of those goes on first. I need to know that. I got to brush up on my steps so I can judge. Of course the card that people are most concerned about with Shadals is El Shadal Winda, who is one of the rare cards that gets alternate art. Requires a Shadal monster and a fusion monster. Must first be fusion summoned. Cannot be destroyed by an opponent's card effects. Each player can only special summon monsters once per turn while this card is face up on the field. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one Shadal spell or trap in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So El Shadal Winda preventing you from special summoning more than once per turn is really devastating to a lot of decks because a lot of decks need to special summon like a tuner and a non-tuner so that they can synchro summon, and they can't synchro summon, or they need to special summon a monster that lets them draw a ritual card, or maybe they need to get two monsters out to Xyz summon. Basically, El Shadal Winda is designed to only allow fusion decks to function because fusion decks can special summon with materials from their hand. They don't need the materials to be on the field, which Shadals are a fusion deck, so this benefits Shadals very, very well. I don't imagine that we'll get El Shadal Winda, but if we don't get El Shadal Winda, I don't know that Shadals would be able to compete that well. So, we'll have to see.
That's a double-edged sword. Like,
yeah,
if they don't get it, it's gonna be hard for them to fight against the Met. But if they do get it, It's gonna be very powerful.
Yep. Wow, we have a ton of Sky Strikers now.
The manga definitely helped with that.
Oh right, they printed like a bunch of cards for like a manga set, right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the only ones that I know are Ray and Rose, which are probably the only two that would come at the beginning. So we have Eagle Booster and we have Jamming Waves in there already, but Sky Strikers are basically these two girls, Ray and Rose, who turn into mechas and then destroy things, and they have a bunch of Link ones, like a ton of Link ones, and the deck is pretty toxic because it uses a ton of Link ones, and Link ones are inherently broken. But yeah, wow, there's alternate art for Kagari and Shizuku. Okay, man, Konami, this deck is really popular with the fan base.
Well,
Uh,
why do that? What do you expect?
you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
Um,
but yeah,
so
Sky Strikers rely on quick play spells instead of usually traps
yep.
because the more spells you have in your graveyard, the more effects your other Sky Striker spells have.
That's right. For example, Widow Anchor allows you to target a face-up effect monster on the field and negate its effects, but if you also have 3 or more spell cards in your graveyard, you take control of that monster as well. So, yes, there are some very powerful effects if you have 3 spells in your graveyard. Um, one of the biggest problems that Sky Strikers have in Master Duel was just that you brick. And I don't think that would happen very much if you were playing a 20 card list. Wow. Both Ray and Rose. Okay, so hold on. So how many cards in this archetype have alternate art? So we got Ray, we got Rose, we got Kagari and Shizuku. That's 4 cards. Calm down, Konami. 4 cards have alternate art in this tiny archetype. That's ridiculous. Um, we've already got magical muskets. It's too early for decks like Bee Troopers. It's probably too early for Adventure, although I really want to see Adventure in Duel Links because it might be a deck that you could actually make just the Adventure cards work in, because Adventure has a problem of it being too small. They could just give us more Dragon Link cards, but then that would just make Rockets better. I don't know if that's the solution. Well, I guess we'll have to see. Anyway, so moving forward, the other fun decks that are in the meta, Madolche's got Unlimited. Let's see if Madolche's are doing anything. Second place. Okay. So we got 3 Petting Cesur, 1 Pudding Cess, 3 Magellines, 1 Hoot Cake, and 1 Gelato. Then triple Cosmic, 1 copy of Knights, 1 Chateau, and just staples. And then extra deck is pure Madolche. Okay. This skill is not.
Wait, check the comment. Let's see if that was a mistake. Let's see.
No
Oh,
comments.
oh my god.
I mean, he won the tournament. I assume this was very. He just didn't bother with this. I don't need a skill. Skill? What are you talking about? Fairy Smile? I could just draw. I could just gain 3,000 life points by drawing all the fairies in my deck, but I'm not going to do that. That would be dumb. Sorcery Conduit, making sure that I draw my Magicline? Nah, I don't need that. Switcheroo? I'm running 3 Cosmics. I don't need Switcheroo. That's funny. I'm sending this to Kyra, actually. All right. Well, I mean, cheers to Madolche. If you can get second place in a Grand Prix with no skill, then imagine what you could do with a skill. Otherwise, we've got Red Eyes, which is not topped at all. Okay, fair enough. I thought Red Eyes was going to do something, but I guess normal summoning a monster with only 2,400 attack points isn't that much of a threat, really.
True.
Let's see. How's BLS doing? Top 8? Okay, top 8. You know, that's respectable. Someone got Someone got second. Let's see. Okay, this person got second on the 26th, and this list is all right. But I'm more interested in like taking a look at the actual tournaments after. So let's see. Okay, so someone played today. Oh, okay. I've heard about this list. Okay, so this is the Link 1 list, where you play Swap Cleric and Microcoder, and you link it into Link Disciple to draw extra cards. Basically, it's like turning it into a Nemeon. And we got the Lady Debugs to draw more cards, Book of Moon, Signet Cross. Okay, so you play Signet Crosswipe to get the to use the Link Disciple. Okay, so it turns it into removal and draw. Warning point, Bottomless Trap Hole, 2 Ballista Squads. Ballista Squad again is just going to get that Link Disciple off the field to draw you a card. Okay. I mean, draw 1 card, then put 1 card from your hand on the bottom of your deck is kind of what BLS has been basing itself around for a while. But the problem is, you drew a card before it. But I guess that's the point of Swap Cleric, right? Like, Swap Cleric allows you to draw 1 card, and then the Link Disciple allows you to draw an additional. Okay. I kind of. But how are you getting the? How are you swap like? How are you putting something below the Link Disciple to tribute it? I feel like this is missing a piece. I feel like they could be playing the password card that lets them special summon just a 2,000 defense Cyberus monster, and that would probably work out well. But then that'll be a dead card in their hand. Yeah, I don't know. I think VLS is just kind of dead. Well, this was a productive discussion. So I think that we can just cut it off here, Gold. Thank you very much for coming out. And the rest of you guys, my name is Seraphi, and I was thrilled to have you all with me.
It's no problem.